At the adult ceremony of the ancient clan, Xiao Yan was challenged by Sunner's #1 suitor, the ancient demon. Although this person's strength is at the level of the 8-star Dozuan, and he is a powerful opponent, Xiao Yan understands that even if the opponent does not take the initiative to provoke this battle, he must also come forward. After all, if he wants to be with his Sunner in the future, he must prove his strength through this battle, so as to block the mouths of some ancient elders who oppose their being together. This battle was inevitable from the moment he first entered the ancient world. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan stood up slowly, smiled, and said, "Since the ancient demon Dutong is aggressive, then Xiao Yan will take over this competition on behalf of the Xiao clan." Seeing that Xiao Yan's mind was made up, the little Dr. Fairy and Sunner beside him no longer stopped too much. However, the eyes of Sunner looking at the ancient demon were full of cold color. The Mang Tianji on the side was full of relief. Obviously, he appreciated Xiao Yan's ability to take on the challenge of the ancient genius young ancient demon. However, Mang Tianji still warned Xiao Yan that he must be careful in this battle. After all, the opponent's strength is 3 levels higher than him. So if Xiao Yan has any special circumstances later, he will also save him in time. Who will make Xiao Yan his student? In this regard, Xiao Yan, after thanking Man Tianji with a smile, jumped into the square and swept into the square. Seeing this situation, the ancient demon not far away said mockingly, "No matter what your strength is, it is beyond my expectation that you can meet the challenge. You should know why I came to you." As soon as the ancient demon's voice fell, the sky suddenly became cold. At the same time, his figure also disappeared instantly at this moment. Seeing the ancient demon disappear, Xiao Yan also had a solemn expression on his face. After all, the opponent this time is a more terrifying existence than the 9 heavens of the Soul Hall. If he ignores it a little bit, I'm afraid he will lose quite miserably. Therefore, at the moment, the vindictive spirit carrying the hot wind in Xiao Yan's body surged out unreservedly and slammed a punch into the void space in front of him. However, just as it was about to explode, the ancient demon hiding in it slammed into it with a fierce punch. The moment the two collided, a terrifying wind ripples suddenly surged out, and the 3 ancient elders in the field, after seeing such fierce confrontations, in order to prevent the venue from being directly destroyed by these 2 guys, their handprints quickly formed a light package with vindictive energy. At the same time, Xiao Yan, who had stabilized his figure, had a solemn expression on his face at this moment, because his right palm had now completely turned into a bloody hand. Obviously, in this first fight, Xiao Yan suffered a slight loss. It seems that simply with his 5-star Dozuan strength, he really can't fight the ancient demon at the 8-star level head-on. And after seeing the ancient demon who was slightly superior to him, after a sneer, he quickly displayed the first 2 seals of the Imperial Seal technique, the seal of opening the mountain and the seal of turning the sea. Obviously, he did not intend to give Xiao Yan any breathing time. Facing the overwhelming energy palm print, Xiao Yan's mind turned, and he directly turned on the 3 mysterious changes of Qianhua to the 3rd change, and then displayed the Liuha Yu body ruler to form a ruler shadow defense. Looking at the extremely fierce battle that broke out almost in an instant, a touch of excitement faintly appeared in the eyes of the surrounding melon-eating people. They also wanted to know what kind of ending Xiao Yan, who was well known in Zhongzhou, would have when facing this ancient genius. On the other side, Xiao Yan's ruler shadow defense finally burst with a bang under the continuous output of the opponent. Xiao Yan didn't panic about this. After stabilizing his figure, the heavy ruler in his hand suddenly split off. Facing the mighty flame horse training, the ancient demon sneered. As soon as he held his palm, Sun Bai's ice vindictiveness surged out of his body, and his arm was covered by ice in an instant. And then, under the gaze of many eyes, the flame horse training was completely shattered. However, at this time, the ancient demon just wanted to taunt him and saw a rapidly rotating 3-color fire lotus from the shattered fire swept towards the door in front of him. With the sudden grip of Xiao Yan's handprint, the exquisite three-color fire lotus exploded with a bang. Suddenly, a terrible firestorm swept through the entire venue. If it hadn't been for the elders who had already set up an energy light before, I am afraid that this place would have been blown up long ago. Even so, the fighting hood was shaken by it, causing ripples. Xiao Yan was looking at the spreading firestorm, but the solemn color on his face did not diminish much, because he knew that although the three-color fire lotus was powerful, if the ancient demon was cleaned up so easily, then he would not be qualified to become one of the 4 capitals of the ancient race. However, as soon as this thought in Xiao Yan's heart fell, he saw the firestorm sweeping the world and suddenly exploded with a bang. I saw that in the center of the explosion, a figure whose whole body was filled with cold and vindictive energy was slowly stepping out of the void. After appearing, the ancient demon's body was already covered by a thick layer of mysterious ice. Obviously, he should have relied on this strange armor to resist the impact of the firestorm. At this moment, the ancient demon held a crystal-clear spear in his hand, pointed at Xiao Yan's son Ran, and said, "Let me show you today what is the pinnacle of the younger generation. With your strength, you are not qualified to reach this point. 10,000 beast marksmanship, Beastmaster." Looking at the rapidly approaching phantom of the fierce beast, Xiao Yan's eyes also flashed a little solemnity. At the moment, the vast soul power burst out from the center of the eyebrows, and in an instant, it was the real killing trick hidden in the phantom of the fierce beast that was seen through, and they all avoided the past. However, the ancient demon saw that Xiao Yan was avoiding the gap, and with the unexpected sharp palm wind, he grabbed the latter's chest fiercely. However, facing the close onslaught of the ancient demon, Xiao Yan did not dodge at all. I saw the sharp palm wind, and as soon as it touched Xiao Yan's body, the clothes instantly shattered into powder, and then the crisp sound of gold and iron that followed really stunned everyone. I saw that Xiao Yan's body at this moment was already filled with a kind of purple gold scales, and the attacks of the ancient demon were all resisted by these scales. And this is the ancient Dragon Emperor armor that Xian had previously given to Xiao Yan. There were many well-informed people in the field, so they recognized this thing at a glance. It was the dragon scale clothing of the Taishu Gulong clan. But they didn't expect that this human guy would be too weak in Gulong's defense. On the other side, although Xiao Yan responded to the attack of the ancient demon with this, the strength that penetrated into his body still made his body churn. It seems that the attack of the 8-star Dozuan, even with the magical effect of the Dragon Emperor's ancient armor, is not completely immune. Seeing such a scene, some people of the ancient races were full of surprise because this was the first time they had seen the ancient demon being forced to this point by a foreigner. It seemed that Xiao Yan was really powerful, because in the continuous battle with the ancient demon, the vindictive energy consumption was too great. Xiao Yan was now busy with the burning decision that had evolved into the heavenly level technique. Seeing the other party's domineering behavior of absorbing the energy of the surrounding heaven and earth, many people's pupils shrank slightly. It's actually the heavenly order technique. However, in response to this, the ancient demon not far away sneered. "Do you really think you are the only one who has this level of skill? Ancient holy treasure, swallow the sky and take the earth." I saw that with the rapid changes of the ancient demon's handprint, the energy of the surrounding heaven and earth was constantly sucked by it. Under the infusion of this energy, the vindictiveness in the ancient demon's body became more and more majestic. Seeing that Xiao Yan actually forced the ancient demon to display the ancient sacred treasure, Lin Shun and others outside the venue were also unbelievable. After all, they originally thought that with the strength of the ancient demon, they would be enough to rub the Xiao family boy on the ground, but now they didn't expect to fall into a bitter battle. After regaining his fighting spirit, the ancient demon looked at Xiao Yan with excitement and shouted coldly, "Xiao Yan, let me show you next. What is the real ancient clan heavenly fighting skills?" Hearing this, Xiao Yan's expression also sank in an instant. Looking at the meaning of the other party's words, The ancient demon obviously wanted to sacrifice a big killing move. Therefore, Xiao Yan flicked his fingers at the moment, and 4 different fires flashed out and then quickly condensed, faintly with a little beast shape. Seeing Xiao Yan about to use the 5-round fire-leaving method, the venerable Tianhua, not far away, suddenly had a touch of fire in his eyes. After all, he also got these fighting skills by chance. Even in his peak period, he had never really fully deployed the power of the 5-round fire release method, because the demand for the 4 different fires was too demanding. But today, this strange fire array, which is comparable to the heavenly fighting skills, is finally about to burst out of his brilliance in Xiao Yan's hands. For strange fires appeared out of thin air, causing the temperature of the entire venue to suddenly heat up. Although most people are not sweating profusely as a result, their eyes are full of shock. They didn't expect that this strange fire was an extremely rare thing. But in Xiao Yan's hands, it was as cheap as Chinese cabbage, and it was still 4 flowers at a time. Just when everyone in the audience was envious of this, the ancient demon who was standing not far from Xiao Yan's face first flashed a touch of surprise in his eyes, and then sneered. "I didn't expect you to be pregnant with 4 different kinds of fire, but if this is your dependence, maybe that's it. That's it." After all, a monstrous breath of silence slowly filled out from the ancient demon's body. "Since you have been forced to this step, it is very good that Xiao Yan can reach this step." After that, the 3 elders who presided over the ceremony, after looking at each other, hurriedly poured all their vindictive energy into the vindictive light that protected the venue. Seeing the ancient demon's move, Sun'er's beautiful eyes also flashed with a touch of solemnity. This is the Great Silent Annihilation Technique. Sun'er couldn't be more familiar with this so-called Great Silent Annihilation Technique, because she has also practiced these fighting skills and the terrible power of destroying all life. Even now, she still has a deep memory, and she didn't expect that in order to win, this ancient demon even used these heavenly fighting skills. Looking at the ancient demon who closed his eyes slightly, and even all his vitality disappeared quietly, Xiao Yan's face became more solemn. In his opinion, the power of this trick performed by the ancient demon must not be low. If he is a little careless, I am afraid he can only hate it. So at the moment, Xiao Yan took out the Yanghua that he had obtained in Ye's house to act as the 5th kind of flame. With the sudden change of his handprint, I saw the 5 flames in the sky instantly condensed into 5 flames of wolf, leopard, lion, tiger, and Xiao. Suddenly, a terrifying temperature immediately filled the sky. Feeling the vindictive energy passing quickly in his body, Xiao Yan also took a deep breath, and then his gaze suddenly turned to the ancient demon in the distance. Perceiving the latter's increasingly strong breath of silence at this moment, Xiao Yan shouted sharply, 5 rounds from the fire plate. I saw that with the continuous high-speed rotation of those huge fire spirits, a huge 5-color fire disc slowly suspended above Xiao Yan's head. The terrifying energy that permeated even some of the elders of the ancient race, their expressions changed. At the moment the 5-color fire disc took shape, Xiao Yan threw it at the ancient demon fiercely in the horrified eyes of everyone. "Ancient demon, take me and try it." However, just as the 5-color fire plate cut through the sky, the ancient demon's closed eyes suddenly opened at this moment, and then slowly stretched out a finger and gently pressed down on the 5-color fire plate. I saw this huge black finger, and the space where it passed was all collapsed. Seeing such a scene, the faces of many powerful people present instantly turned pale, because this is still the great silent finger, just a little breath emitted. If this trick hits them with all its strength, wouldn't it be instantly killed in seconds? Just when everyone was horrified by this, the huge finger finally collided with a 5-color fire plate. Suddenly, terrifying ripples of energy spread out violently, and all the buildings that were close to the venue collapsed at this moment. Although the vindictive masks of the 3 ancient elders were used as protection in the venue, under such a strong impact, their vindictive spirit was also about to run out soon. In this regard, the 3 elders were struggling to persevere, and their hearts were also secretly crying. After all, everyone originally thought that this battle would not last long. But now who would have thought that Xiao Yan not only did not quickly lose to the ancient demon, but instead forced the latter to really use the killer weapon. At the same time, a subtle cracking sound suddenly came from above the sky. I saw the five-color fire disk that Xiao Yan had cast, and under the blow of the ancient demon, a crack opened. Such a scene made many people present suddenly exclaimed. In their opinion, the two fighting skills, or the great silent finger of the ancient demon, seemed to be even better, because as the impact continued to increase, I saw more and more cracks on the fireplate. Although the huge black fingers gradually became blurred, looking at this momentum, it was obvious that Xiao Yan's five-color fireplate could not withstand it. Seeing this situation, the vindictive spirit of Xiao Yixian and Sunner started to run in an instant. Looking at this appearance, he was obviously ready to take action at any time. That Meng Tianji stood up slowly at this moment. After all, Xiao Yan is a student of his college, so how could he sit idly by? However, just when he was about to make a move, he suddenly noticed that Xiao Yan's breath suddenly weakened a lot. This discovery made them a little confused. After all, Xiao Yan possessed the heavenly order technique burning determination, but he had a steady stream of vindictiveness. Although these 5 rounds of fire release method require a lot of vindictiveness, they cannot reach this point. Just when Meng Tianji and the others were puzzled, the 5-color fire plate in the sky finally burst with a bang, and the great sacrifice of the ancient demon wiped out the finger. So he hurriedly swept towards Xiao Yan in a puzzled manner. Seeing this situation, a touch of sadness suddenly appeared on the face of the ancient demon. Xiao Yan, suffer death. Although after 5 rounds of bombardment from the fireplate, most of his great sacrifice energy was also consumed, but the remaining power, he believed it was enough to completely kill Xiao Yan. However, Xiao Yan, who was below at the moment, jumped up and greeted the black giant finger. However, in the palm of his hand, I don't know when, there was already an extra 4-color fire lotus the size of a palm. Ancient demon, you are happy a little too early. You want to take my life. What are you? After that, Xiao Yan threw the 4-color fire lotus fiercely at the black giant finger. Accompanied by a loud sound, the ancient demon and the people present were stunned to see that the extremely powerful, huge black finger actually slammed into the sky the moment it touched the fire lotus. Black spots all over the sky, but Xiao Yan was also covered with blood marks because of this strong aftermath. However, the fire lotus remained unabated, rushing straight towards the ancient demon, and the violent energy released by it made the latter really feel a breath of death at this moment. Now he has just cast the great silent finger. It is when the vindictive spirit in his body is empty, and he cannot avoid it. Therefore, the ancient demon could only watch the light of fire, zooming in rapidly in his pupils. Looking at Xiao Yan, who had no plans to stop, the expressions of all the ancient people changed slightly. They didn't expect that Xiao Yan would dare to kill someone on the territory of the ancient clan. However, just when the fire lotus was about to touch the ancient demon's body, it suddenly solidified. Immediately, an old figure in a white robe slowly emerged and said, "Xiao Yan, be merciful." As soon as the old man appeared, Gu Qian and several other ancient elders in the air suddenly bent over and saluted. Meet Elder Tongxian. In this regard, the old man named Elder Tongxian, after nodding slightly, saw that the terrifying 4-color fire lotus that had solidified under his gentle grip completely dissipated, but did not cause the slightest fluctuation. After solving the trouble of the 4-color fire lotus casually, Xiao Yan's trauma gradually recovered under the treatment of Elder Na Tongxian. In this regard, Xiao Yan's heart was also a little awe-inspiring. He is not a person who doesn't know the current affairs, and he naturally can't help but give face to the other party's kindness. Moreover, among this ancient tribe, it is definitely impossible to kill the ancient demon. That being the case, Xiao Yan also borrowed this step and bowed his hand to the old man and thanked him. Elder Tongshuan's gaze turned to the pale ancient demon behind him and said, "Ancient demon, you have already lost this competition." Hearing this, the ancient demon's body suddenly trembled. He knew very well that if it hadn't been for Elder Tongshuan's last-minute move, I am afraid that he would have been blown up by Xiao Yan's four-color fire lotus, and there would be no bones left. Although he had always been arrogant, it was difficult for him to accept this cruel reality for a while. But at this moment, the ancient demon had to admit that he had indeed lost, and he still lost. Seeing that the ancient demon actually took the initiative to admit defeat, the eyes of many ancient people were unbelievable. You know, the strength of the ancient demon in the younger generation of this ancient clan is definitely enough to rank in the top 5. But now, it is really lost in the hands of a descendant of the declining Xiao clan.